It was a quiet morning in Kyoto. The sun had just risen over the tiled rooftops, casting a golden hue on the garden outside. I sat on the tatami mat, cradling a warm bowl of miso soup, just like I had for the past 30 years. I still remember the day my husband began to slow down. He was once full of energy. He tended the garden, walked to the market, even practiced Tai Chi in the park. But in his late 60s, something changed. His steps grew shorter, his arms thinner, and he often said, "I just feel weak." That morning, watching him struggle to lift a small bag of rice, I made a quiet promise. If food could nourish the body, perhaps it could bring back his strength. So I began to prepare this special breakfast, simple, warm, and rich in the very nutrients his aging muscles needed. Today, I'd love to share that with you. Before we begin, I'd love to know, where are you watching this from? And what time is it for you right now? Please let me know in the comments below. I truly look forward to reading them. And don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss what's coming next. Why we lose muscle after 60. My husband was never one to sit still. Even after retirement, he would wake up before the sun, stretch his arms to the sky, and walk barefoot through our little garden in Kyoto. He said the earth gave him energy. For decades, he carried heavy buckets, lifted stones, and trimmed the bonsai trees with hands steady and sure. But somewhere between 65 and 70, his movements changed. Slowly at first, just a little more effort to rise from his chair, a longer pause before tying his shoes. One morning, I watched as he reached to lift a bag of rice and paused. "Strange," he said, with a gentle smile. "It feels heavier than it used to." We thought it was simply age catching up, as many do. But the truth was quieter and more serious. He was losing muscle. In Japan, we call it nukunata karada, a body that has quietly faded. Doctors have a name for it too, sarcopenia. After 60, our bodies naturally begin to lose muscle mass, up to 1% each year, and the less we move, the faster it disappears. Unlike a sudden illness, it doesn't arrive with warning. It just slips into your daily life, making stairs seem steeper, chairs seem lower, and bags seem heavier. You might not notice it until one day, walking across the room feels like crossing a hill. But muscle isn't just for strength. It holds your posture, protects your joints, balances your steps. When muscle goes, independence often goes with it. That's why so many elders fall. Not because they trip, but because their legs can no longer hold them steady. My husband didn't like to complain. In our culture, we learn to endure in silence. But I saw it. The way he reached for the wall when getting up, the hesitation before a step. His muscles were fading, and with them, a part of his spirit. And yet, no one had told us this could happen. Not the doctors, not the newspapers, not even the neighbors. They spoke of blood pressure and heart health, but rarely of muscle. No one told us that food, especially in the morning, could make a difference. So I began to look closer at what we eat, and that's when I saw it. The quiet power of a Japanese breakfast. Simple, intentional, and built to support the aging body. The first answer I realized was already sitting in our kitchen. How the Japanese preserve muscle naturally in Japan. Breakfast is not rushed. It is not eaten in the car, nor standing at the kitchen counter. It is a quiet ritual, one that begins before the sun rises, with steam rising from rice, the aroma of miso filling the air, and the gentle clink of chopsticks placed carefully on the table. I used to wake before my husband, set out the small wooden tray, and prepare our morning meal with slow, steady hands. A bowl of warm miso soup, a portion of grilled fish, a side of fermented soybeans, and a scoop of rice. It was never fancy, but it was always complete. You see, in Japan, we grow up learning something called shokuiku, a philosophy of eating that teaches not only what to eat, but how food supports the body, mind, and soul. It's not about counting calories. It's about balance, harmony, and intention. And it's no coincidence that many of our elders remain active and independent well into their 80s and 90s. They garden, they walk, they kneel, they carry their groceries. Much of this strength, I believe, comes from the way we begin our day, with food that quietly feeds the muscles before they are even called into action. Modern science now agrees. A protein-rich breakfast can slow muscle loss, support tissue repair, and even reduce inflammation. But in our villages, this was simply tradition. A bowl of miso soup with tofu offered both hydration and protein. Natto, rich in vitamin K2, helped strengthen both bones and muscles. And small amounts of fish or egg gave the body what it needed to rebuild after sleep. My husband once asked, "Why do we eat the same things every morning?" I smiled and said, "Because your body thanks you every day. There's a saying here, Asa gohan wa karada no hajimari. Breakfast is the body's beginning. We do not skip it. We do not simplify it to a cup of coffee. We honor it because we understand. Muscles are not built in the gym, but at the table, bite by bite, day by day. The Japanese breakfast that rebuilds muscle. If there is one dish that has quietly shaped the health of my family through the years, it is this, a simple bowl of miso soup with tofu and wakame. Every morning, it waits for us on the tray, warm, fragrant, and filled with quiet power. At first glance, it may seem too modest to matter, but for those of us in our 60s, 70s, and beyond, this humble dish has the strength to rebuild what time tries to take away. When my husband began losing his strength, I returned to this soup not out of habit, but with intention. I remembered how it had comforted him during colds, how it warmed his hands on winter mornings. But now, I began to see it differently, as nourishment not just for the heart, but for the muscles. The foundation of the soup is miso, a fermented soybean paste that our ancestors have trusted for centuries. What many do not realize is that miso is alive. It contains natural probiotics that support gut health and that matters deeply for older bodies. A healthy digestive system allows us to absorb the protein and minerals we need. And when muscles are fading, every nutrient counts. Into that miso broth, I add tofu, soft, silken cubes that float like clouds. Tofu is made from soybeans, and unlike heavy animal proteins, it is gentle on the stomach, yet rich in the amino acids muscles crave. It is also packed with isoflavones, plant compounds that have been shown to support both muscle recovery and bone density, two things we all need more of after 60. Then comes wakame, a sea vegetable that blooms in the hot broth. It is light, but deeply nourishing. Wakame brings iodine, magnesium, calcium, all essential for muscle contraction and nerve function. Its subtle briny flavor reminds me of the sea near my childhood home. And in that way, it nourishes both memory and muscle. Some mornings, I add finely sliced shiitake mushrooms or a gently poached egg for extra protein. I let the soup simmer slowly as I prepare rice or warm the teacups. This is not fast food. It is food that respects the body. What amazed me most was how my husband responded. After just a few weeks of beginning each day with this meal, paired with natto, rice and vegetables, his hands grew steadier. He walked with more purpose. He even returned to pruning his bonsai trees. He said to me once, "This soup feels like a kind voice waking my body." That is what real food should be, a reminder that healing is still possible. In the West, we often search for answers in bottles and prescriptions. But here, in our small wooden kitchen, we've always looked first to the bowl. And this bowl, this one right here, is where his recovery began. The 6 essential foods in a Japanese longevity breakfast. Every morning, before the sky turns fully blue, I begin the same quiet routine. I don't think of it as meal prep. To me, it is something more tender, a form of devotion. I set out a wooden tray and prepare 6 small dishes, each one simple, each one meaningful. Together they form a gentle rhythm, one that has kept my husband strong through his aging years, and me as well. At the center, as always, is our bowl of miso soup with tofu and wakame. You already know its story. It warms the body, wakes the stomach, and delivers protein and minerals in a soft, digestible form. But miso soup is only the beginning. Beside it sits a small bowl of natto, fermented soybeans. It is not a beautiful food. It smells strong, and its sticky texture can surprise even Japanese children. My husband avoided it for most of his life, but after 65, I began placing just a spoonful on his tray. It's not about taste, I told him. It's about what it does for you. Natto is a treasure. It contains vitamin K2, which supports healthy bones and helps prevent fractures, one of the most dangerous things for older adults. But it also supports muscle preservation. And because it's fermented, it helps the gut do its job better, absorbing protein, fighting inflammation, even supporting the immune system. Little by little, he grew to accept it. One morning, he even asked for more. Next to the natto, I place a perfectly boiled egg, still warm, the center soft and golden. In Japan, we do not eat large omelets or scrambled eggs drowned in cheese. Just one egg, prepared with care. It offers complete protein and important vitamins like B12, which older adults often lack. More than that, it's gentle. The elderly often struggle with chewing or swallowing, but a soft egg goes down easily, nourishing without burden. Then there is rice, our constant companion. Some days I cook genmai, brown rice, which is higher in fiber and minerals. Other days, it's polished white rice, easier to digest, especially on tired mornings. I always sprinkle a touch of gomashio, roasted sesame seeds, and sea salt over the top. The rice offers steady energy, and the sesame seeds provide healthy fats and magnesium to support muscle function. Even the act of sprinkling it slowly feels like a blessing. No Japanese breakfast is complete without something pickled, tsukemono. Sometimes it's crunchy cucumber, other times a few slices of daikon radish, or a sliver of umeboshi plum. These bring not just flavor, but life to the meal. Their bright sourness stimulates digestion. Their crunch wakes the jaw. And their colors remind us to enjoy what we see as much as what we taste. My husband often said they were like morning music on the tongue. Finally, we end with a warm cup of mugisha, roasted barley tea. It has no caffeine, so it doesn't disturb the heart or sleep. It's rich in antioxidants and supports circulation. I love the way it feels in the hands, how its roasted scent fills the air like toasted bread. It signals the day is beginning. You are safe. You are strong enough. 6 dishes, each small, but together They create balance, warm and cool, soft and crisp, protein and fiber, color and calm. It is not just food. It is a way of honoring the body, especially the aging body that has carried us through so much. We don't rush it. We don't skip it. We don't eat while scrolling through phones or rushing out the door. We sit. We breathe. We give thanks. And somehow, in that stillness, strength returns. The way you eat matters just as much. When my husband began to feel weak, it wasn't only what we ate that changed, it was how we ate. In Japan, we have a saying, hara hachi bu. It means eat until you are 80% full, not 100%, not overflowing, just enough. It is a philosophy of restraint, but also of listening to your body, your breath, your pace. And it has shaped the way we eat for generations. Every morning, we sit on the floor at our low table, our legs folded gently beneath us. This simple act of sitting with intention grounds the body. It encourages good posture, which is essential as we age. Slouching compresses the stomach, weakens the core, and affects digestion. Sitting tall opens the lungs and allows the stomach to do its work. We do not turn on the television. We do not rush. We begin with a deep breath and a quiet itadakimasu, a phrase that means I humbly receive. It's a moment of gratitude for the food, for the hands that prepared it, for the body that will receive it. Then we eat slowly. When you chew your food thoroughly, you do more than break it down. You signal to the stomach to begin producing the right enzymes. You allow your brain to register fullness naturally. You reduce inflammation, bloating, and even fatigue after meals. And with each careful bite, you support the body's ability to absorb the nutrients needed to rebuild muscle and strength. My husband once told me, "When I eat slowly, I feel younger." I believe that's true. Eating slowly is not a luxury. It's a return to awareness. And in that awareness, something powerful happens. The body begins to trust again. It stops rushing. It begins to heal. I also taught him to rest for a few minutes after eating. Not jump up, not head straight outside. Just sit. Let the warmth of the meal settle into the belly. Feel its strength before the day asks anything of you. Even the utensils we use shape the experience. Small bowls, chopsticks, everything sized just right, so each bite must be intentional. There is no piling food into the mouth, no shoveling, only a quiet rhythm of lift, chew, pause, and breathe. These small habits, the way you sit, the way you hold your spoon, the time you take, may seem unimportant, but for the elderly, they are everything. They protect digestion, improve balance, reduce falls, and help the body actually use the food we give it. Food is not just about ingredients, it is about rhythm. And when you eat in a rhythm that respects the body responds. So tomorrow morning, even if all you have is a small bowl of soup or a boiled egg, sit with it, breathe with it, eat like someone who still believes in their body's ability to grow stronger. Common breakfast mistakes people over 60 make in the West. When I visited my niece in California a few years ago, I was surprised by how breakfast looked in her home. She handed me a mug of hot coffee and a pastry from a box. "This is what we usually eat," she said, smiling. I smiled back, but inside, I felt a quiet sadness. You see, for many in the West, especially those over 60, breakfast has become either an afterthought or a habit of convenience. But for aging bodies, it is perhaps the most important meal of the day. And yet, I noticed 3 common mistakes that many older adults make, often without realizing how deeply they affect their strength and well-being. The first is skipping breakfast entirely. Some people tell me, "I'm not hungry in the morning." I understand. As we age, our appetite can shrink and routines change. But when you skip breakfast, you ask your body to run on empty. And for older muscles already losing mass, that's like trying to repair a house with no tools. After a night of fasting, the body needs fuel, especially protein, to begin repairing tissues, stabilizing blood sugar, and preparing for movement. The second mistake is relying too much on sugar and caffeine. I saw it often during my visit. Sweet muffins, sugary cereals, flavored yogurts, and large cups of coffee. These foods give a quick burst of energy, but no lasting strength. They cause blood sugar to spike and crash, leaving the body more fatigued and the muscles unfed. And coffee, though comforting, can be harsh on an empty stomach, increasing stomach acid and reducing appetite for more nourishing food. The third mistake is eating foods that are difficult to digest or absorb. Even when protein is present, like in cold milk, cheese-heavy dishes, or processed meats, it may not be easy for older digestive systems to break down. Our stomach acid decreases with age, and the gut becomes more sensitive. That means nutrients may pass through without being absorbed. It's not just what you eat, it's what your body can use. So what do I recommend? I always say, start small and start warm. Even 1 cup of miso soup in the morning can prepare your body to receive nourishment. Add half a boiled egg, a small bowl of rice. You don't need 6 dishes like we do in Japan. Not right away. But you can begin with one soft, warm, protein-rich food that tells your body, you are safe, you are cared for, you are being rebuilt. My husband didn't change overnight. At first, he still craved toast and coffee, but I offered him a spoonful of natto or a little tofu in broth. Just try, I said gently. Over time, he began to feel stronger. He even said, I didn't know food could feel like medicine. And that's the truth. Food is medicine. If we listen to what our aging body truly needs. A gentle message from one elder to another. I have lived more than 80 years now. The seasons have come and gone like waves, and with each one, I have learned a little more about what the body needs and what the heart longs for. If you are watching this, perhaps you are feeling tired. Perhaps your arms do not lift as easily, or your steps are no longer steady. Maybe you've looked in the mirror and wondered, is this just what getting old feels like? I want to tell you something that no doctor ever told me, but I learned through living. You are not too old to grow strong again. The body, even in its 70s, 80s, and beyond, responds to care. Not force, not punishment, but care. A warm bowl in the morning. A slow, peaceful meal. A moment of stillness. These are not luxuries. They are the beginning of strength. I watched my husband fade, and then I watched him come back, step by step, bite by bite. Not because of pills or programs, but because we returned to the simple wisdom of food, rhythm, and attention. So if you feel far from who you used to be, please don't lose hope. Start with one thing. One warm bowl. One calm breath. One small promise to nourish yourself, not just to survive, but to live well. I'm not a doctor. I'm just an old woman in a quiet kitchen. But I believe in you, and I believe in your body's ability to come back to life. So now, you've seen what our mornings look like here in Japan. Not rushed, not loud, just warm trays, gentle movements, and food that speaks to the body with kindness. This is not a perfect solution, It is not a quick fix, but it is a beginning, a return to something simple, steady, and real. And after 60, 70, even 80, beginnings still matter. They are proof that you are still here, still growing, still capable of strength. If you try even one change tomorrow morning, perhaps a warm cup of miso soup or an egg instead of a pastry, know that it is not small. It is a message to your body: I am listening. I am with you. I still believe in you. And I do. I truly do. Thank you for spending this time with me. If you felt something stir in your heart today, please share it in the comments. I would love to hear your story, where you are, how you start your mornings, and what you hope to heal. And if you haven't yet, don't forget to subscribe. There is still so much I'd love to share, with hands full of warmth and a heart full of hope.